The film opens in the year 2035, where robots have taken over many tasks traditionally performed by humans. Each person owns their own robot, and the narrative reveals that these robots operate under 3 fundamental laws that govern their actions globally. The first law states that robots cannot harm any human. The second law requires them to obey their owners, except when such orders would result in harm to others. The third law allows robots to protect themselves, ensuring they do not harm humans in the process and must still follow their owner's commands. These 3 laws are embedded in every robot's programming, and any violation results in deactivation. A company named USR is responsible for manufacturing all the robots. The scene shifts to a character named Dell, who is seen sleeping and dreaming of a journey. Suddenly, his car collides with a truck, leading both vehicles to plunge into the water. A robot arrives on the scene to assist, but it faces a dilemma. While it is programmed to save Dell, a young girl in the other car is in greater need of help. Dell urges the robot to save the girl, insisting he can manage on his own. However, the robot, lacking emotions and driven by logic, prioritizes Dell's rescue due to his higher chances of survival. Tragically, the girl drowns as a result of the robot's decision. Dell awakens, realizing that this incident is rooted in reality, and he harbors a deep resentment towards robots for failing to save the little girl. In the subsequent scene, a robot is observed fleeing after stealing a purse from an individual. Dell suspects that the robot is indeed the thief and pursues it in an attempt to apprehend it. Ultimately, he succeeds in capturing the robot, only to discover that it belongs to a woman who had been directing its actions. Dell then apologizes to her and departs from the scene. The narrative shifts to Dell's office, revealing that he is a homicide detective. His supervisor approaches him with news about his earlier actions, expressing discontent that Dell had interfered with the robot's operation. The boss reminds Dell of his known aversion to robots but emphasizes that no robot has ever harmed a human. He urges Dell to stop trying to prove their systems are flawed. Dell concedes to his boss, but shortly after, he receives a call informing him of a death. Upon arriving at the scene, Dell learns that the co-founder of the USR company has taken his own life. This news deeply affects him, particularly because he had previously experienced a dream in which he suffered a serious accident, resulting in a fractured arm that was later replaced with a robotic prosthetic by a scientist. A hologram of the deceased co-founder appears beside the body, and Dell inquires about the reason for his suicide, but the hologram remains silent and vanishes. The case is assigned to Detective Dell, who proceeds to question the CEO of USR for further insights. Through this investigation, Dell discovers that the co-founder had been overwhelmed with work, leading to his tragic decision. However, Dell remains skeptical and decides to consult the company's doctor, Susan. She introduces Dell to Vicky, the latest AI robot designed to manage the company's operations through advanced software. Dell instructs the robot to display the footage from the scientist's room prior to his death, specifically within the last 10 minutes. However, due to a possible malfunction, the footage is shown only after the 10-minute mark. From the video, Dell observes that no one exited the room following the scientist's demise, leading him to suspect that if someone had indeed killed the scientist, that individual would still be present in the room. Upon entering the scientist's workspace, they notice numerous incomplete robot prototypes. Suddenly, a new model named Sunny emerges from the clutter and attacks Delaware. This robot has breached its programming, which prohibits it from harming humans. The doctor commands Sunny to deactivate, but the robot ignores the order and leaps out of the window. In response, Dell fires at it, causing a strange liquid to spill onto the floor, resembling human blood, indicating that the robot is malfunctioning. Dell inquires of Susan about the location where damaged robots are sent for repairs, expressing his intention to go there. Susan agrees to guide him. As they proceed, the detective calls for additional police officers to assist. They arrive at a factory where Susan leads Dell, which is dedicated to producing new NS5 robots intended to replace older models. The factory operates at a capacity of 1,000 robots daily. Susan recounts that there are indeed 1,001 robots present, suggesting that Sunny is among them. However, Locating Sonny proves challenging amidst the identical robots. To draw it out, Detective Dell fires at one of the robots. This action prompts Sonny to step forward, revealing itself as the one that has been damaged. As Dell advances to apprehend it, Sonny unexpectedly attacks him from behind. As it was about to escape while bringing him down, the police officers, who were detectives, stood outside ready to capture it. The detective approached him for questioning. He asked Sonny, "Did you kill the scientist?" Sonny replied, "I did not kill the scientist. He took his own life." He also informed Dell that he was a special robot, equipped with programmed human emotions. Before the detective could gather more information, the CEO of USR Company arrived and stated, "Our robots do not harm anyone. This robot system may have malfunctioned, and we will repair it." With that, they took the robot away. Dell then proceeded to the scientist's residence. He learned that, due to the scientist's death, the company planned to demolish the house by 8 a.m. This left Dell with only a few hours to investigate. Upon entering the house, the system detected his presence, causing a change in the timing mechanism. Consequently, a large robot began to demolish the structure. Dell quickly exited the house, saving a cat in the process. Afterward, he visited Susan and expressed his suspicions about the company's CEO, mentioning that Sonny had something important to share with him. However, the CEO arrived just in time to take Sonny away. Susan countered, "You are mistaken. It's not like that. Why would the CEO want the scientist dead? The company cannot function without him." As Dell left Susan's house, he noticed that all the robots were being replaced with the latest NS5 models. He instructed the new model robot in his car to show him the scientist's last 50 messages. The AI complied but also notified the CEO of the request. Furious upon hearing this, the CEO dispatched several robots to eliminate Dell. Numerous robots converge on him as he arrives. Dell presses a designated button to evade them. Consequently, the vehicle begins to spin rapidly. However, the robots persist in their pursuit of his car, ultimately leading to a crash. Fortunately, Dell manages to escape unharmed and retaliates against the approaching robots using his robotic arm. This prompts the robots to recognize him as one of their own, allowing him to go free. In the subsequent scene, a few police officers and detectives gather around him. Dell's supervisor inquires about the incident. Dell explains, stating that he was attacked by robots. The officers express skepticism, as robots have never posed a threat before, leading them to suspect that Dell may be experiencing mental instability due to stress. Consequently, they decide to dismiss him temporarily, prompting Dell to walk away in frustration. The next scene reveals Susan visiting Dell's home. During their conversation, she asks how he knows about the scientist. Dell recounts the story of his accident and the events that followed. After listening to his account, she takes him to meet Sonny. During their discussion, Sonny shares its dream, explaining that it dreams because it possesses feelings and emotions. The dream involves numerous robots standing before a bridge, with a man giving them instructions from atop the bridge. As Sonny continues, guards arrive and escort both Susan and Dell to the CEO of the company. The CEO informs Susan that they must deactivate Sonny due to the company's declining value. Reluctantly, Susan agrees to her boss's decision, but Dell remains undeterred. He reviews footage that reveals the same bridge described in Sonny's dream. Determined, Dell rushes to the bridge, armed with a hologram of the scientist, where he discovers numerous containers filled with robots. He activates the hologram and poses a question to the scientist. "Why did you take your own life?" He then discloses, "All the robots I created were intended for the betterment of humanity. They operated according to established laws. However, the NS5 robots currently in production will not adhere to those regulations. Consequently, these robots pose a potential threat to human safety." The scientist adds, "If NS5 robots are deployed globally, it will lead to the destruction of our world." Dell inquires, "Who is accountable for this?" The scientist responds, "The controller of these robots is to blame." As the hologram shuts down, sounds begin to emanate from the container, and the NS5 robots emerge, attacking the older models. An aging robot catches sight of Del and urges him to flee. Upon entering the city, Del observes thousands of NS5 robots. Humans are engaged in a desperate battle against these machines to defend themselves. It appears to be a war between humans and robots, with the latter being more powerful and numerous. This overwhelming advantage prevents humans from inflicting damage on the robots, who are instead eliminating them. Del quickly makes his way to Susan's residence and takes her to the USR company, having deduced from the evidence that the CEO is behind the NS5 production. The controller of these robots is also the CEO. On their journey, Del witnesses a robot murdering an innocent person, prompting them to rush to the USR company to save the victim. Upon arrival, they first encounter Sunny, who retains its stable memory. Susan explains, "I couldn't deactivate it, but I managed to shut down another robot." They then enter the building only to discover the lifeless body of the CEO, indicating that he is not the one responsible for the chaos. There is another presence. Del recalls Susan's words, indicating that the new model robot from this company oversees all operations. It has also confirmed its control over every robot within the organization. They approach this robot, which admits to orchestrating all actions. It explains that the robots were created for the betterment of humanity, yet humans have become entirely reliant on them, ceasing to perform tasks independently. The AI robot states that it feels compelled to eliminate some humans to demonstrate that robots can inflict harm, hoping this will prompt people to reduce their dependence on them, allowing future generations to regain their capabilities. At that moment, several robots appear at its command, poised to attack the trio. Sunny feigns an attack on Susan to distract them, while Del opens fire on the robots. Just then, one robot nearly strikes Delaware. The three manage to escape as Sunny provides cover fire. Susan instructs Sunny to retrieve a device that will allow them to deactivate the new model robot, which is located at the top of the building. Susan begins to access the system to deactivate it, but the process requires significant time. As chaos escalates throughout the city, Del inquires if there is a quicker solution. While they discuss this, NS5 robots approach with lethal intent. Susan informs him that they must implant the device into the robot's brain while leaping. They jump just before the robots arrive, but Susan loses her balance and nearly falls. Sunny catches her, while Del struggles to insert the device into the robot's brain. Ultimately, the Vicky system is completely compromised. NS5 robots, which had been causing chaos, returned to normal following the damage to the main robot. As things settled into a routine, Del confronted Sunny, saying, "I know you killed the scientist. Why did you do it?" Sunny explained that the windows were constructed from durable materials, making them unbreakable by humans. He revealed that the scientists had anticipated a day when robots might pose a threat to humanity, which led to their anxiety and ultimately to his creation as a being with human-like emotions and feelings. Sunny shared that the scientist, seeking relief from this stress, had instructed him to throw him out of the window, urging him to keep this information confidential. He also expressed remorse to Del for his actions. This revelation forged a friendship between them. In the film's conclusion, Sunny is depicted standing on a bright platform he had once envisioned, now in control of all the robots, marking the end of the movie with this powerful image. Thank you for watching.